Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Episode 3 of the International. Today we're going to try to get the rear axle removed from the truck in preparation for the installation of the forward axle. Some viewers have asked me why we're doing the driveline swap with Ford components. Well, it's as simple as parts. This 45 International. These are not as common as GM or Ford trucks of the era, and they're the International K series and the KB series that followed on. They were produced from 41 until 49. The KBs were just a continuation of the K series with just some basic changes to the trim, just some added chrome, different badging. They were essentially the same truck. Parts for these trucks are hard to come by. The first two of the series, the K1, the K2, the half ton and the 3/4 ton, those are fairly reasonable to come up to acquire. A lot of them shared drivetrain components with the L series of trucks that followed on in the 50s. So those are more or less reasonable to get on the road in stock form. But when you get up into the larger trucks, the more commercial trucks like the K3 1 ton and the larger trucks, the K4s and larger, parts are really scarce, especially drivetrain parts, brake components. But what really kills these trucks are engine parts. The Green Diamond series of engines, this engine family originated in the mid-30s. And International ran it into, they ended production of this engine in 1949. So support for this engine lasted until the mid-70s, and after that, aftermarket companies like Spicer and Felpro and Victor Reese, they followed on for about a decade after International stopped supporting the truck. But getting into the 90s was really when all the aftermarket parts dried up for these. So into the 2000s, 2010s, and now into 2020s, yeah, just if you find the parts, good for you. But I'm not saying good for you like being an a-hole or anything. But I'm happy for you if you can find the parts reasonably priced. But in my search, yeah, the prices neat that people are asking for stock replacement components for these series of trucks is a lot more than I'm willing to spend on support parts, replacement parts for a 80-year-old truck, especially an engine that will only produce 80 horsepower, 160 foot-pounds of torque, something that's only going to be, puttering around at maximum 40 miles an hour. That is not reasonable for modern traffic, even in town. Like it'd just be something for parades and taking to shows. Like, if I have a vehicle, I want to be able to drive it. And that goes on to the rear axle. The gearing in this rear axle is 4.875 to 1, which is a numerically high gear ratio low rear axle, and in conjunction with the 80 horsepower engine with a red line of around 3,600 RPM, this thing would top out at 50 miles an hour screaming downhill, which is, for in mid 40s where this thing was, mid 40s in Wisconsin, gravel roads. Yeah, you weren't going anywhere above 40 miles an hour anyway. So it would in its time and place, it was fine. But for modern use, it's unacceptable, and you're going to be a road hazard, even on county highways, county and state highways. You're going to be a road hazard. So that's it's basically part support and bring it into a more modern era is why I am converting it to a Ford drivetrain. And I don't know if I've explained it on other vehicles, but my drivetrain choice is engine. We're doing a 289 Ford 1965 C code. That's just the base model 289. So that's coming out of that came out of a 65 Galaxy convertible. That doesn't matter. That the C code was the same between the Galaxies, the Fairlanes, and the Mustangs. That's the 200 horsepower, 280 foot-pound of torque, two barrel. That engine that came out of a junkyard. And so to recondition that, I had to get the block bored 30 thousandths over and surfaced. And so that's going to be a stock overhaul on that engine, stock cam, stock crank, 30 thousandths over pistons just because of having to clean up the block. I am putting a 4-barrel intake manifold on it and a Holley 600 vacuum secondary carburetor. That's all for future planning. The heads are the stock. The heads were in good enough shape that just cleaning those up, refurbishing the heads, but those are getting comp cams. About I think they're working off the brain box. 294 pounds per inch valve springs, and going with threaded in rocker arm studs instead of the Preston studs, and then keeping the stock cast rocker arms because they're pretty nice design. But other than that, it's more or less a warmed over stock rebuild. Transmission, going with a two-wheel drive Borg Warner T18 4-speed. That's coming out of a mid-80s two-wheel drive F-150. Going with that because it was cheap. I was able to acquire a pair of used transmissions for $40 total. I got a T18 and a new process for $35 4-speed for $40. I'm most likely going to use the T18 because it's got the extended tail shaft on it, and it may allow me to run a stock length Ford drive shaft in the end. But the original plan was to match the 289 with the stock international transmission. But the more I dug into it, did research, it was the clutch that was going to give me some difficulty. Like I know there's Frankenstein clutches out there. That's not a problem. But just finding a pressure plate that would work was difficult because I do have a period parts catalog for this truck, but getting the old international part numbers to cross to aftermarket parts companies is difficult, and then finding a clutch pressure plate that would for sure work was proving to be exercise in futility. So made the decision to just go with a transmission that for sure would match up with the Ford small block. So that's why I went with the T18, using the large diameter Windsor bell housing, and then a 164 tooth flywheel, and then just a standard Ford truck 10-inch clutch assembly. That'll be a bolt together off the shelf component. Using off the shelf components, have a engine and transmission assembly, and then it's just a matter of doing mountings in the international frame, and then the rear axle. And that the rear axle again comes down to availability of parts. Number one, the brakes. The brakes on this truck, yeah, brake shoes all around, which I have no problem running manual hydraulic brakes. You get them adjusted, they work fine. You just have to plan your stops. You can't, last minute step on your brakes and expect the vehicle to stop. But finding reputable companies that can reline brake shoes is getting difficult these days. And also working on a budget. I mean, if you have all the money in the world to throw at something, yeah, you can get anything done, but being reasonable when building a vehicle literally from the ground up, you got to be wise about where you spend your money. And I'd like to use off-the-shelf parts where I can instead of custom-made parts or refurbished original parts, because off-the-shelf parts is, they're factory parts. They're the best parts. So that's where the axle came from, deciding to go with a Ford axle, and also the gear ratio. I'm going with a 8.8 inch rear axle. It's coming out of a 94 F-150, a two-wheel drive. So that's giving me a 3.08 to 1, numerically low, gear ratio high rear end. So that'll give me a good highway gear. So it'll give some decent miles per gallon, and it won't stress the engine too bad. And another advantage of that is it's only an inch wider than the International's rear axle, so that all works out. And to get it to swap in is just a matter of welding spring purchase in the correct areas. And so that solves the brake issues. And then for the drivetrain, it's a matter of drive shaft. And drive shaft shops are a dime a dozen. You can find them online and fill out an order form with the measurements, and they'll mail you a drive shaft. Or in central Oklahoma here, Oklahoma City's close. Tulsa isn't unreasonably far away, and there's half a dozen drivetrain shops around that I could have a drive shaft made, and I could haul the truck there, and they could make it on the spot, and I could have it in a day or two. So there's the rear end, the drivetrain, and the rear end. For the front end, that gets a little bit more tricky, but not impossible. To keep things simple, I'm going to keep the International's solid front axle. I mean, as you can see, it's got the typical I-beam front axle with the kingpin style spindles. So what we're gonna do is following on a trick, well, not really a trick, but a process used back in the 30s, 40s, and into the 50s. Showing off some parts here. This is a spindle for a 1973 to 1979 F100 or F-150 two-wheel drive. Uses kingpins as well. These kingpins are about 10 thousandths of an inch larger in diameter than the International, so 0.010 inch larger in diameter. And then the spacing right here is forget how, about 1/8 of an inch larger on the Ford spindles than the International. So what I'm going to do is the kingpin bosses, I'm going to drill those out and then ream them to final size to take the Ford kingpins, and then use shims to take up the additional 1/8 inch of space to adapt the front end to the Ford spindles to run Ford front disc brakes to give me a matching bolt pattern to that Ford rear end. So not only will that give me matching wheel bolt pattern front and rear, It'll also give me disc brakes in the front, because these Ford spindles have integrated brake caliper brackets. And then all I got to figure out is to integrate the steering between the Ford spindles and the international steering, which is a smaller problem than brakes. But come to find out, drilling and reaming out kingpin bosses was a common process back in the 30s, 40s, 50s for vehicles with worn out kingpin bosses. And by kingpin bosses, that is this section of the axle right here. Your kingpin goes down through your spindle, through the kingpin boss, that's part of the axle, through the spindle. And yeah, it was just a common procedure to oversize your kingpin bosses to accept a larger kingpin for worn out axles. And really the only thing I have to figure out for the steering is a tie rod of the right length to connect the two spindles, and then which I may be able to use this tie rod with if I get a proper sized proper size tie rod ball to go into the Ford spindles. And then really the only thing I have to really figure out is this steering arm to come from the left spindle to connect to the drag link that goes up to the pitman arm that comes off the steering box. So yeah, it's really this steering arm that I have to work out, which I have a plan for that. There's a steering arm for, it's a 70s four-wheel drive Chevy K10 aftermarket steering arm that I may be able to modify to attach to the Ford spindles. That is this general shape that may work, that may put everything in the right position. But yeah, that's the idea for well, that's the reasoning behind all of the drivetrain swap. It updates the drivetrain to modern components. Well, by modern components, it gets it out of the 40s and puts it into the 60s to mid 60s to mid 90s time frame. It makes the part serviceable with off the shelf components, and also makes the rebuild process faster, because well, my background is mechanical. I'm not a body guy at all, and that's the daunting part of this process, is the body work. So if I can hit the easy button anywhere, it's going to be in the mechanical. And in my line of work, I'm a sustainment engineer on my current line of work. Previous line of work, I was an aircraft mechanic for 18 years. Before that, I was in industrial maintenance and welding for 5 years prior to that, 4 years prior to that. And now I'm a sustainment engineer on, let's say, an elderly aircraft. Yeah, let's go with that. Elderly aircraft, don't want to divulge too much. And parts supply, parts availability is a issue, and it's not something that I enjoy living with in my professional life, and it's not something I want to deal with in my personal life on my vehicles, especially something that I'm doing for fun. And rebuilding a vehicle from the ground up is, I guess, fun. So if I can make the things easier, I will. So yeah, I hope that that kind of, it's not quite brief, about 20 minutes of brevity. But yeah, that's why we're doing Ford everything on this. And well, Ford because at heart I'm a Ford guy, even though my daily driver is a GMC. But they're available. Parts are available. Parts are cheap. I was able to get the components cheap through Marketplace and other sources. So, all right, enough chit chatting. Today we're going to try to get the axle out. Hopefully we can save these U-bolts because this is kind of unique. The spring over axle over, spring under suspension. The spring perch is cast into the axle, and then the upper spring perch is kind of just rested on the axle. So what we're going to try to do is save these U-bolts first, but that doesn't work. I did bring the grinder with me, and we'll just hack them off to save time. So I'll reposition the camera and get the frame up on jack stand so we can got a little bit of wear inside of that spring perch. But yeah, we'll see what we can do to save components, because I don't even want to try to find these U-bolts, these narrow long U-bolts, but we'll see what we can do. But I don't even know if I'm gonna reinstall these overload springs when I put this thing back together, because there's really no need to. So we'll see what we can do. I'll reposition the camera to get a better shot, and yeah, let's get going on this. Oh, and I know before anyone says anything, I know the truck needs to be off the ground before I start removing U-bolt nuts, but I'm just trying to break torque. Wow. This seems unlikely. Huh. This scares me when torque breaks like this. Oh, I gotta get the shock. Forgot about those. Ooh. I don't know about that. Yeah, after episode 2, my dad commented he's the one driving down with the bringing the transmissions and the axle from Wisconsin. Commented about pulling the bed off, how much easier that's going to make it to do the work on the axle. like, yeah. You know, I'm not trying to be smug or anything, but like, yep. It's like, I know. It's kind of planned. I think. Okay. This knee shock, this linked arm. Wonder. I think I might try to take my in view. Woo. Yeah, I think I'm in view. I think I might try to take this top pin out. That way I can take this whole thing with me. If not, I might just take the shock with me. I may just take the, yeah, try to pull this top pin out for this arm. Yeah, try to pull a pin out, take the link, the vertical link out, take the vertical link with the rear end, leave the shock with the truck. If that doesn't come out fairly easily, I'll unbolt the shock and just take the shock with the rear end. For the brake line, we'll just cut the brake line. That's not being saved. Oh, back to the rear end parts availability discussion. That's got a lot of slop. Yeah. Service parts. The U-joints for the factory drive shaft, unavailable. Like I tracked down cross-reference part numbers between the original international part numbers to Spicer part numbers, and that trail ended in the early 80s. Early 80 part catalogs. That was a secondary reason for going with a Ford rear end. And I didn't. The 8.8 wasn't necessarily a this is the axle for me. This is the axle I need to use. I would have been plenty happy with a 9-inch out of an F-150. It would have been the same width. I think it turned out to be ended up being 94 inches wide from wheel mating surface to wheel mating surface. That's the dimension I was going after. But where was I going with this? But yeah, I would have been just fine with doing a 9-inch. But it was the price. What I ended up paying for that 9-inch or that 8.8 inch, even getting my dad out here to central Oklahoma from northern Wisconsin, central Wisconsin. I need a bucking bar. Was made it affordable. Even the transmissions, like what? Just I'm rambling. Apologize for the rambling. I'm out here alone, so all you faceless viewers, which again, thank you so much for, especially on that second video. Yeah, this is what I was. It's kind of in a spherical bearing, but it looks like that pin may be seized up. Where's it coming? Ooh. It may have just... I should have a second hammer or a bucking bar. Because I'm just beating on a floppy piece of might be able to get a pair of wire cutters underneath it, and that's a good trick for a pin with a head on it. Like if you can get under the head with a pair of wire cutters, you can sometimes get enough of a pinch and I hate these glasses. Don't ever get straight bowed glasses if you ever plan on looking downward. No, not enough. The axle, yeah. Also, one thing I liked about the 90s, that 90s Ford axle was it's got a wheel speed sensor built into it. So, in theory, I could use that to drive cruise control. Yeah, in theory, I could use, figure out your pulses per mile of that. I don't think that's coming off. Let's see what we can do about this shock absorber and just take the shocks with the just take the shocks. Yeah. Well, I know people are probably going to say, "Oh, it's an old truck. You want to keep it old, keep the feel." I guarantee you, with knee action shock absorbers and leaf spring suspension and no insulation in the cab, this thing is going to feel plenty old driving down the road while having cruise control. I'm just saying. And putting disc brakes on the front of it while having a manual master cylinder, because I don't think there's going to be room underneath the floor of the truck. There we go. That is exactly what is it? Yep. Yeah, we'll take that as an alternate victory. These ones just feel like they're twisted. I really should get this frame extension off the back of this to accommodate this the 8.5 foot bed on this thing. There's like a 1.5 foot frame extension. Should really unbolt it because I'm going to do something different when I just look at that bed and just that's not a project I'm looking forward to. I think these ones are going to get cut off. Honestly, all of them are going to get cut off. Okay, spring shackles. I think before anything else, I get the frame up on get the frame up on jack stands. All right, I am tired of that. The important thing is I saved one for measurement purposes. Yeah, and before anyone comments about RB garbage, it cuts out. It's a safety feature. This is a brushless grinder. When it overloads, it cuts itself out instead of burning itself up. It's annoying, but It's there so you don't damage the tool. It's a little warm. Oh, that's the upper spring perch for the upper spring. And the lower spring. Okay. So I'm still on the fence whether or not I want to put the overload springs on with the axle swap, because that just sits on the axle. I mean, it's not perfectly flat. I mean, it does have some cast in spring positions, but it just sits on, depending on how that sits, depending on that radius. I don't even know if I'm in the shot. Depending on the radius on this spring seat, I don't know, lack of a better name, that may just sit, because that doesn't really keep it anywhere, because that just sits on a constant radius. That just sits and rides. It's really the that worked out good. I can take those to the garage at home and work on them. Because that just sits and rides. There's nothing positioning that. That may just, that's a 3-inch radius. That may just sit on top of the Ford axle just fine. But I'll rebuild. I'm going to rebuild the spring packs anyway. Take them apart, clean up the springs. Take them apart, clean up the springs. Do some rust treatment. Yeah. more I looked at these U-bolts are, these U-bolts are bent. But I'll be able to get good measurements out of them for to order new ones if I decide to use the overload springs, because that right overload spring is missing its bump stops. Slide in. They don't slide in. Oh, another comment from another viewer. They didn't post this. It was on Facebook. They wanted to see more sweeping, which is weird. A weird request, but promise that viewer they will see sweeping. All right. The axle should be free now. Well, aside from, am I in the shot? Yeah, we're in the shot. All right, get this spring perch. Where's the floor jack? Get the floor jack under the axle. Get stuff out of the way. Those nuts are probably super hot. And some people may say, well, you're putting a half-ton axle underneath a 1-ton truck. You're derating the truck. Well, I don't know. I can't remember if I said this before. These trucks were made back in the day when a 1-ton truck literally meant 1 ton. This thing's payload capacity is 2,000 pounds. A 94 F-150 has a payload capacity of around 1,500 pounds. So it's not going to be too derated. Besides, I'm not planning on hauling much. I hate running a nut past a cotter pin, but that's what I gotta do, because these bolts, they're not, well, they're bolts, but they're through drilled to provide lubrication to the spring pivot. I do have a lathe now. I don't have it set up, but I do have a small bench top lathe, so if I had to, I could take a bolt, any bolt, like grade 8 or larger bolt, and make a new Let me get the light back like that. It's loose within its bore. Maybe get better lighting. Spoke too soon. Got that rusted cotter pin. Ooh. I think I'm going to be making a new one of those regardless. That's yeah, let's look at that. That has some wear on it. Because there isn't any bushings. It's a little closer. I think I'm going to be making or buying new shackles. Yeah, I think it's going to get some new shackles. It's a little wallered out there. I think the old girl was due for a little service. All right. All right, what do we have? We had 13 16ths and whatever this one was. Phillips. That. I think maybe one of the first things we do with not one of the first things, but one of the things we do with the lathe is put bushings in these springs. Now I don't feel too bad about running this castellated nut through. Looks like Grandpa put new shackles on this side at one point. 13/16. Yes, that's definitely better. Definitely seen all right. There. The axle's off. Wasn't too terrible. So I'm gonna pick up some tools and then see what we can do about get this thing moved to the front of the truck. All right, we got the axle moved out to the front of the unit. We will get it loaded onto the back of the GMC when we're done today with the engine hoist. We need it at the house for really only one thing, well, two things. Getting the angle between the spring perches and the pinion yoke. That way, when we weld the spring perches on the forward axle, we can get the pinion angle set properly. And then also the distance between the wheel mounting flange and the spring perches. That way we can get that set properly, and then also take into account the difference in the width of the two axles. So that's the only reason we need this behemoth at the house. So we'll use the engine hoist to load it up in the back of the truck. The only thing we have left to do today is get the axles off the truck, or axle. We already got the axle. Get the springs off the truck. Need some light. Let me get some more light in here. What time? In the meantime, my crappy fluorescent will have to do. Okay. What it looks like is just this pinch bolt right here to drive out the pivot pin for the forward spring shackle. And the same on this side also. Pinch bolt, drive out a pin, and the leaf spring should come out. So I'll get some tools back here and take care of this. Huh. 6, 7, that's fine. Those might just get. What is going on here? That. I'm not exactly sure those pinch bolts are doing anything. Yeah. That one wasn't doing anything for sure. This one. This one might be. But. This spring perch has been replaced at some point. I'm gonna. Excuse me. Interesting. Yeah, this spring perch's been off the truck before. That's definitely can't say that this thing. Oh, I definitely can say that this thing deserved to be put up in the weeds. This truck definitely deserved its retirement. I gotta have a shallow 9/16 in here. This toolkit I'm using is my travel tools that I carry in my Spitfire. So that thing's all standard. Well, except for reproduction parts. A lot of reproduction parts come out of India. So any reproduction parts are metric. Well, unless you pay the money for genuine heritage parts out of England, those typically are made to the original specifications. So those are usually standard inch. But those came out easier, but those spring perches are rough. Oh boy. Those spring perches are rough. Yeah, I don't know if I showed you close on this one. This one is yeah. We're gonna have some work to do. This one isn't too terrible, but I think maybe what we're gonna do is probably source spring perches and shackles off of something different. Probably a 40s Ford or Chevy. If I have to make a guess. Alright, what else are we gonna do today? I don't know. What time is it? Making good progress, though. Do we want to tackle this frame extension? Because these trucks, I don't know if I covered it, these trucks were sold as a chassis cab. You can tell the chassis cabs if you ever run into a K-Series by the running boards. If the running boards extend to the rear wheel wells or rear fenders, it was sold as a pickup. But the chassis cabs only had the running boards to the back of the cab. So the frame ends here, the factory frame ends here, but the pickup bed extended another 1.5 feet or so. So this was added on, looked like the dealership because matching hardware and actually paint, the green paint from the body. So I don't know. Let's throw some wrenches on this. See if we can't get this frame extension come off. Because if I'm not running into that, I'll be happy. So let's see if we can do something about this frame extension while we're here. Let's see what we can do on this. Prefer to wrench on the nut side, brake torque on the nut side, standard proper procedures, but the nuts are a little inaccessible on these. Oh, let's see what we can do. Forgot my wrench. 3/4. And of course, brought the grinder, cut off wheel. That's promising. Promising. Yeah, with that spare tire cross member, that's... Whew. Well, now remember, never use an extension on your tools, cheater pipe on your tools. Get a proper size. It may just come off. Watch me eat my words. Like usual. To help things, let's use a 6-point impact socket. Well, not because it's an impact, but because it's 6-point. Only got metric, but we might find a metric that's close to a rusted 3/4. 19. Oh, that came off. What happened is they drilled the holes on this bumper extension exactly to 3/4, so and what I'm going to do instead of this is most likely a 48 Ford F1 bumper and brackets. It'll be close enough. Trying to avoid kissing the frame wherever possible. I know it really doesn't matter. But just more of, pride and work type deal. There. One side done. Well, What happened here is the nuts on these first two just immediately rounded off. So now the nut comes off on that one. I don't know if it was obvious what I was doing there. Cut partially through the bolt head with the grinder, and then zip off the head with the impact, and then grind off the remainder of what was left until you could see a seam between the bolt and the washer. Now, I got all the bolts loose except we got two on this side that are still stuck through the frame. This side of the frame is completely loose, and this right side of the frame is loose as well, except we're hung up on two right there enough. I brought some chisels with me. That would have been ideal, but did not bring chisels. I got an old garbage file. An old garbage file that's duller than what I'm trying to do is this edge, trying to flex it out enough to the stuck bolts to get them out of their holes. And that may just have done it. I don't want to be too aggressive. There's not much weight holding the back of this truck up. I could just about pick the back of this truck up off of these jack stands. Yeah, here's one of the bolts. That's, yeah, they interference fit is an understatement on that bolt. I think we're caught up again. Yeah, it's coming now. Yeah, this very front bolt that came from here, it's traveled along here. It got hung up on a hole here, and then it was looking to get hung up on this very last hole, but we're past it. This thing's gonna be heavy. Oh, here we are. That's not too bad. There, that is. Yeah, that's what I need to be doing right now. And the jack handle back in. All right. What we get accomplished? We got the axle out of the back of the truck, got the complete suspension out of it, save for the spring hangers, which probably we're just going to replace all of that. The full lot, the rear shackles, those are all loose, worn out. Be easier just to replace those. The fronts, this side isn't too bad. It is worn out. We may readdress those once I get set up for TIG welding. See if we can't build those back up and bore them back out. And restore those. Got that frame extension off, so we have the stock rear frame, or stock frame length back. What else we got? Got the truck bed. I don't know. I got half a mind with this thing to, I don't know. I really want, since I got to restore this whole bed, adjust its length to fit this bed length. That's the amount of work needed on this bed, and maybe something we look at. But that's for the future. So got a lot done today. Got things more tore apart. But in the next video, we'll be setting up the new rear end, cleaning off all the forward bits off the new rear end, getting spring shackles positioned and welded on. And yeah, I was hoping to hang the new rear end in that episode, but seeing the condition of these spring mounts, we're gonna have to do something about that. But I don't know. We may get the engine pulled. I'm gonna have a helper in the next episode, so we may get the engine out of this thing next time, which will be something. So Dan, thanks for watching. Apologize for rambling at the beginning, but I figured I needed to explain the idea behind this build. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the subscriptions. Last I checked, well, prior to posting this video, we were up to 22, which is amazing for 2 videos. So thanks for everything, and hope you enjoy this one. And see y'all guys. See everyone next time.